Hi, good evening. I'm Charmin, and my show is called Music in Bloom, and thank you all for coming. Grateful. Nice to see you all here. And now I have to switch the technology and get over here, and there we go. Good. So we're finally in summer, and I'm loving it because I'm definitely a hot weather person. There's so many things you could have done instead of coming here for Facebook Live. You could have read a book or played a game, take a walk or go for a drive. You could have cooked a meal from a new recipe. Forget all about me, but you showed up for me, and I like it. Places you could have gone and say you just lost track of time. You could have dyed your hair or wrote a song, watched some Netflix, Hulu or Prime. You could have done another webinar or a Zoom somewhere and just say next time maybe, but you showed up for me and I like it. How many people even knew what Zoom was before the pandemic? I think if you ever bought stock in that particular company, you made a lot of money, because my life has changed. I'm always filled up with Zooms where I want to learn something or talk to somebody, and I'm actually looking to eliminate it and kind of go back to the good old days, one-to-one talking, telephone calls, something. The Zoom is just too easy, and I have to get out of my pajama pants too. Hey Ellen, hi, how are you? Well, this is a special show today because I am kind of paying tribute, showing appreciation for a very good friend of Alfred and mine, George Young, who from this area, and I'm sure in California too, was very well known. Started off in Philly, Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. Eventually he moved out to California. And for those of you who don't know what a studio musician is, that's George. If the band is not provided and they're not a self-contained artist, they're going to need musicians to play on their music. They got to be really good readers, and not just that, they have to play with feel, they have to change style, they have to adapt, and that's what George does amazingly well. And I was lucky enough to have George play on a couple of my tunes as well. And I'm doing something tonight that I don't do, which is play tracks. But that's what I'm going to do tonight. So here's a song. We'll play a little bit of this one. So all we would do is send George the tracks, and George would come up with these amazing lines that would pull the whole thing together. And right now I'm going to, now that's what we call a cover, and I totally redid a very popular song from the 60s, and I'm wondering if anybody knows what that song is a cover of. So think about it and get back to me, and then remind me to tell you who it is. But right now, I had such a wonderful interview with George that I thought was going to be 20 minutes, and it turned out to be 2 full hours. So what I'm doing is showing you a couple of the highlights of the interview. and I'm going to do some more of the music that he played for me and for my husband on our CDs. And then I'm going to do the entire thing as a podcast, 2 volumes, because it's very interesting, and for the musicians, real interesting. So, right now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to George. Part 1, who, by the way, has not stopped. No, no, no. Still busy. Still creating. Hi, George.
Hi, Charmin. Thank you for having me.
So I have met you many years ago, but my husband, and my listeners know I talk about Alfred a lot, worked with you in his youth. So could you tell us that your background, where you're from, how you got into music?
Well, okay, will do. I'm originally from Philadelphia. My mother is first generation, she's Slovak. And my father is first generation Croatian. There's a lot of music in our background from the standpoint of their folk music, that Middle Eastern European flow of music. And that was very prevalent in my upbringing, plus a lot of listening to classical music. My parents would play, for examples, they would play a lot of Tchaikovsky, especially around Christmas time would be the Nutcracker Suite, which has become one of my favorite works. And he's become one of my favorite composers, although there are many, as I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes.
And it got me into really appreciating music, being unaware of what music was. Dad used to come home with tonettes, ocarinas, and stuff, little musical toys, because one of our adopted uncles, Uncle Monty, rest his soul, he saw me going like this with my hands in the playpen, not the playpen, but the cradle. When I was just a couple of days old, He says, he's going to play something, and it freaked out. So my father took that serious, and as soon as I was old enough, he got me a slide whistle. He got me all these things, and believe it or not, unknowingly, I'm making music with these little things, as a child. Maybe I'm very proud of the peasantry that we came from.
Yeah.
Our music and all that kind of stuff. I found out later, just about 5 years ago, that his mother, my grandmother, was a gypsy. My grandfather, Opaliski, which is my family name, Andrew, he married Margaret, close enough. And she was from a gypsy camp. So that whole thing tells us that that's possibly where the musical situation comes from. Although that culture is loaded with music, especially the gypsies, So that's where it all started. But nonetheless, we would play every Sunday, and everybody would get drinking, and they would have, not
Rich memories and a lot of passion. I know Sundays with me, we used to have the church. We were involved in the Greek church. We used to have a similar thing, but just Greek dancing.
Yes.
And barbecues in the back and singing Greek songs. It starts when you want to be with your family on a Sunday after a certain age. That's pretty powerful,
That happened for many years.
Yeah,
While I was engaged in the studio business, and I had done a lot of studying, although not in school, not formal. But I wanted to get something that was like more stabilized in one place. And I had a couple of experiences after recording in Philadelphia. This is now going into my early 20s. Maybe I was 21 or 22 when I recorded for Bobby Rydell, his first hit, Kissin' Time, which was my first hit as a studio player in Philly, playing the first tenor solo that I ever did all over the world, and it blew my mind. I said, geez, that's wild.
They're kissing in Cleveland, Kansas City too. They're wailing in Wildwood, back in Waterloo.
And then they called me again to do Chubby. I wasn't available. Buddy Savitt did the twist, and then I did Let's Twist again when I was back home. Because by then I'm traveling to Vegas in and out with Alfred and the group that we had, which was
the George Young Review.
It was a stunning group. It was better than we thought it was at the time.
I remember when you were doing a lot of studio work in New York, you came over to Charmin's house one day and you must have had about 5 pairs of glasses.
Oh, yeah.
These are all different glasses. I need them for all different things. For certain music. Am I right?
Well, this guy came from Wilkes-Barre. He came down to the show, and he wanted to see the thing live. I didn't know what his deal was. So I got him a pass. That's when you could get passes for people.
Yeah.
He came in and he was dressed like a businessman, like in a suit, like he's going to go on set, And he said, "You wear glasses. Does everybody wear glasses?" Here, his father had a company in Wilkes-Barre. They manufactured glasses. He wanted me to do a commercial for the glasses, which I agreed to do. He's giving me all these free. So he gave me all these free glasses. So
I put you had a lot of them.
I had Duke Ellington glasses. I had, oh Christ, all kinds of far out glasses. And I told him I needed this for music, for close up, and I needed the other. And then when I wear a blue suit, I want a pair of blue ones. So I had your thing smaller in the early 90s. I had that all going on, not by choice, just because this guy was gifting me all these things, It's hysterical. But they look cool, man. You look, I'm going to call you Spike now. I'm going to say, hey, that's Spike Natali, man. Natoli. Hey, Natoli.
What do you do? No more. I go like this, and that's it. It's done.
That's it. That's the way it is.
She talks like an angel talks, and her hair has a kind of curl. To my mind, she's my kind of girl. How about this band, George Young Band? That face just knocks me off my feet. Pretty little feet. She's really sweet enough to eat red boy. Yeah. Oh, there's no magic clothes, and I take the trouble to blow my bubbles away. That's it. Ever plan motor west? Take the highway, it's the byway, it's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Wow, 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 wow. I know why I was coming on or not. George Young playing behind you, backing you up. Could you ask for anything more? The best. The best.
Why don't you tell the listeners about Wildwood back then? How
What
much
about
music
Wildwood?
was
7
there?
days a week and 2 matinees. You know, the matinee on Saturday, I used to walk up on stage. I could hardly see.
Because
I
of
was
the
so, I was so
the smoke.
tired. 7 days a week and 2 matinees. Wildwood, New Jersey. We were the only band. One time we got 1 day off on Monday. Boy, I used to go see all the bands on a Monday. How did you get a day off? Joe Stamil gave us a day off. He was Mr. Wildwood. George, I love you. You know that. And we did a CD, Charmin, called Double Standards. I thought it was a very clever name. Who thought of that? We take 2 standards and we made a duet out of them.
Yeah.
All right? We called it Double Standards. And we're going to do one for you now. George played on it. He's playing the soprano on it.
And the tenor, I think.
And the tenor.
And you-
I'm playing out. I have no business even playing out. But George says, yeah, do your thing. Huh? And he would let me. He would encourage me. George would encourage everybody. But nobody could stand up to George Young. For me, the best of my book. He knows that. I
And
love
a
him.
beautiful person, truly, inside and out.
Yes.
I want to say hi to Frank, who says Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Oh, and how about Ronnie Mann's out there? Cupo's out there.
Yeah.
Mike Petrillo, another good friend of mine. All great musicians.
Alexa, hey, we missed you yesterday. Hi. And Debbie, we missed you too, you know that.
Yeah,
All
I was
right.
walking around with a heavy heart yesterday. We did a tribute to Joe Long and Larry Catrone. And it was great.
But it was a celebration.
We made it a
Yeah,
celebration.
celebration.
But I missed them. They left very quickly, and
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. All right, let's
All
cheer
right.
it up here.
So this song is the Ida medley. Here we go.
Ida.
Ida, sweet as apple cider. She's sweeter than anyone you'll ever know.
Tell me about it, girl.
Come out in the silvery moonlight. Of love you'll whisper,
Yeah, I'll whisper.
so soft and low. Seems like you cannot live without her. Listen, oh my baby, do she drives you crazy? Ain't no baby, she's a lady for you. And you wanted to know, oh, you wanna be there, wanna get along with her. You love that Ida, indeed you do. Wop, 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 wop.
Sweet apple cider down in the well. My cousin Ida just couldn't tell. There's no more cider down in the well. They got there just before me. Sweet apple cider, oh golden brown. My cousin Ida, she came around. There's no more cider down in the well.
They
Got there just before me.
Come out in the silvery moonlight.
Oh yeah.
Of love you whisper, so soft and low.
Sweet apple cider, that's what I like. My cousin Ida, sent from above. Instead of cider, I'm drinking tea.
They got there just before me.
That embriague, no more cider, no more.
They got there just before me.
George Young. Boy, the notes he plays. You never hear a better solo on Bad Boy. That solo he did on Bad Boy?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Classic. All right, I gotta go, George. Nice seeing you, baby. We're still here.
Yes, and George says you'll hear more in the podcast, but George believes keep moving, keep moving. That's the theme of tonight. Just keep moving, don't stop, and make something. Make a pie, make a story, make a poem, make a phone call, but make something. Keep moving. The reason I know how hard those solos can be is because I write them all out and then we work on them. So I have learned a lot by transcribing a lot of what George has done. Now here's another song, and this song was written for Alfred and I when I wrote it. I was in Miami. I don't know where the idea came from, but I have a little studio set up down there in our condo, and this song came out. It was a cha-cha in the beginning, and then it changed. It changed to a swing, and I was so fortunate to have Bucky Pizzarelli on guitar, Jerry Bruno on bass, Joey Cass on drums, and George Young on the sax. It's called Uncomplicated We. We find the perfect words to finish off each other's sentences. I know the perfect way to break down all of your defenses. You do the perfect thing to soothe my ego when I'm hurt and shaken. You listen to my belly aching. We know each other's thoughts go together like a wink and smile. I know your taste in clothes. When I shop, I always hit your style. You have a code of life you follow, though some think you're so old-fashioned. You do it with such passion. No more torn lovers, doomed and ill-fated. Just you and me, the uncomplicated. We find the perfect spot to rub when little aches and pains set in. I find the perfect way to let you think you stand a chance to win. You make the perfect meal, al dente pasta, oil and garlic brown, just right. You whet my appetite, no false illusions. 10 pounds overweighted, just you and me, the uncomplicated we. I type the emails and surf the net. You do the hard work that makes you sweat. Even when you're wet and nothing's between us, we still like what we see. You and me. Shoo-doo-doo-doo-doo-dee-da. Shoo-ba-rim-ba. Do-do-be-ah. Bucky Pizzarelli. To push each other's little buttons. I know the perfect way to make something out of nothing. You know the perfect spot to kiss that makes me stop and start to tingle, like when we were single. No red hot lovers, we ain't triple rated, just you and me, the uncomplicated we. Might fight and argue, but we're not separated, just you and me, the uncomplicated, underrated, dedicated. Whee! What a fun song. I love that song. I love where it goes. I love what it says. And it's so wonderful when you write a song and it's exactly the way you want it to be. So I wanted to tell you a couple things. This is the first week of June. I always have a show the first week and the third week with a guest. Also during the first week, I air a podcast. This week it's going to be Allie Hugh, who's talking to us about taking care of ourselves and insurance, which is something that I'm thinking about now. I also have another surprise second podcast next week of someone named Andy Tour, who's got a program just for the men called The League of Remarkable Men. And I love that, Remarkable Gentlemen, from that movie, So he's got something you definitely want to hear. I do that once in a while, sometimes for the man, sometimes for the women, whatever. Whatever works, it's all good. Besides, we learn from everything. Let me see here. Oh, Debbie, thank you. Oh, these lovely, yes, these lovely comments. You know, that song was from my first CD, was called Unconditionally, and I had some great players on it. And then the other song that we did, the Ida medley, we didn't write either one of those songs, but we had a lot of fun with it. Two lyrics that complement each other. So let me see. Is there anything else I got to tell you? Oh, and next week on Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month, that's when we have our Zoom. It's your Bloom Huddle. And we're going to talk next week about the first time you knew you got played. And I'm thinking here, like in a job environment, of course, relationships, I'm kind of leaving that out right now. But when was the first time that you realized that people could take advantage of you and deliberately lie just to mislead you? And what did that do to your faith in people? How'd that change you? So that's next Tuesday. Right now, I am going to, we're going to watch a little bit more of George, who is going to just tell you a little bit more about some of the songs that you may not even know that he played on, but you've heard. What came first, your jazz band? You had a couple of great jazz bands. You went to Japan. I know we used to go to McKell's and hear you in New York, or Saturday Night Live, or both. Maybe they happened at the same time.
Well, these weren't actually my bands. The one at McKell's was a group called Stuff.
That's right.
Where I played with Gordon Edwards and Steve Gadd and Christopher Parker, Eric Gale, and Cornell Dupree. Yeah,
right there.
Cornell Dupree. And then the other group was the Manhattan Jazz Quintet.
Right. Yeah.
That group would go to Japan. We went to Europe with Joe Henderson and Phil Woods as our guests. Mm-hmm. And that group had a floating rhythm section. We had the best rhythm sections in the world at the time.
Yeah. You know, for our listeners, you've played a lot of solos on a lot of songs that maybe they know.
Turn the Beat Around was Vicky Sue.
Okay.
I played on old Tony Orlando stuff.
Uh-huh.
The Dovells. And then Frankie Valli's solo album later, after we did Four Seasons.
Yeah.
All those. We did
Kenny Rankin. I know I had that one.
Kenny Rankin, I did the Because of You album.
Wonderful.
We did a duo on that one.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Transfer, I think you played for.
Oh yeah, I played on most of their New York recordings. I did. Lena Horne.
Oh goodness, okay.
I played on two of her projects. Yeah, played on Frank Sinatra's last New York album, Portrait of an Album. I was on that. Played all the lead alto on that one. Family. Right. So I played the saxophones, clarinets, and the flutes.
And the bamboo.
Oh yeah, well I play all of the ethnic instrument. Yes, ethnic flutes.
Right. Cambodian,
the Indian flutes. Yeah, it's just been wonderful. You know, that's all I've been thinking about was the music, and how can I play it really well? How can I do it the best I can do it?
Right.
There is that is the equation. It's real simple. And am I listening? Am I listening to this? Is that a wrong note over there? Maybe it should have a sharp on it, because a lot of times, like you said, the stuff's coming out and it's just the guy's up all night writing this stuff out. He's copying a score, the copyist,
Yeah.
and the parts go on the stand, and you're going to assume everything is perfect, and it isn't always.
I got an expression from you, or you told Alfred this, but it was I shut the phones off and I put my time in. But back then it meant to practice. You would just shut
Oh
that
yeah,
phone off, put your
absolutely.
time in and just do it.
Yeah, you turn the phone off
And
totally.
just do it. Yeah. And
Machine.
I don't think I clearly didn't ever put the time in you did, but there were times when I would be just into it, just totally into it, running the scales and the keys and, and just put my time in, and it never felt burdensome. I never got bored. It never felt like something I had to do. It was something I wanted to do. Do you still do that?
I still do that. I find it difficult sometimes when explaining, because I do give pointers, and I'm happy to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I have students calling me from all over the planet
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and in doing so, we talk about the need to slow down and listen and make the connections, be it on a piano, whatever instrument it is, doesn't matter. But make sure that everything is clean. There's no schmutz between the notes.
Just get busy making things. Don't worry about all this other stuff. You don't have to get new this and new
Put the phone
that and
away.
it's just like just trying to become somebody else from the exterior. It's not really going to change this
No,
inside.
put the phone away and go inside.
Yeah.
Think, what can I do? Let me think of something. I'll write it down.
Make something, make a
a dinner, a pie, a song, a poem,
right.
whatever.
Who can I do it for is another thing.
Well, it was a pleasure. It really was a pleasure. I'll play you.
We must, sure.
I'll play you out with Summertime. How about that?
Beautiful, perfect song. Beautiful. Beautiful. I just took a trip. Well, thank you so much. This has been a joy. Great. I've heard stories of you from Alfred for all these years, and it's just nice to have this conversation and hear more.
We'll do it again if you like.
And the thing is, I watch George play, as with any consummate musicians, they make it look so easy. Very hard to get that kind of intonation and go adjust the volume, go from a pianissimo all the way up to fortissimo and have it be smooth. And he makes it look so easy. And the beautiful lyrical lines that he plays, I really think they came from his classical training because of the beautiful sweeping lines that happen with the classical composers. So when I do the podcast on that, he'll get more into music, and I would probably then tell anybody to enjoy it, because everything he's talking about applies to everything that you do. You want to do it, you put your time in. You put your time in to create. And one thing I find now that I'm older, a little older, I'm really more into the joy of it, and I'm not so much into the self-criticism of it. And that is so freeing and so beautiful. So whatever it is you're going to do, just do it with an open mind and don't judge yourself. This show was a little bit longer than normal. I did want to do one more. I'm going to do one more song. You don't want to watch it. You don't have to. Because this is one of my favorite songs, and I don't get a chance to do it very often. This is also off of my first CD called Simple Love. Just a simple smile, and I'm all undone. A simple kiss, I'm a waking sun, about to rise. You feed my hungry soul. Your love has made me whole, and all of you I simply idolize. How I thank the one above for this simple love. Just a simple touch, and I'm warm inside. A simple glance, I'm a blushing bride. We're new again. You took my heart in hand to some enchanted land I dreamed about, but simply never been. How I thank the one above for this simple love. simple love. That could be the only real love song that I ever wrote. But I love the song. I love what George played on it. It just pulled all the sections together beautifully. And I'm going to say good night now. Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. Have a safe week. I see you in 2 weeks on the Monday night at 7. And next Tuesday, for the Zoom huddle, please join me. It's always cool. We always have good discussions, good sharing. Take care, everybody. Good night.